My name is Arno Unkrig. I'm from Stadtwerke München, SWM, and I'm here to present the project Elba that we launched and completed successfully with the help of XeniT in the last year. So, off we go. Stadtwerke München is German for Munich City Utilities. And Stadtwerke München stand for safe and reliably supply of electricity, district heating, natural gas, and drinking water, multi-utility, and we provide energy and water to approximately 1.1 million customers. Well, Munich has 1.4 people living there, and our focus is on sustainably provision with electricity and other forms of power. What's wrong with the donut? Oh, here it is. Stadtwerke München are one of Germany's biggest energy suppliers. I think second biggest amongst the city utilities. One of the biggest municipal companies in Germany. And we are committed to the environment and make huge marketing with our effort in environment. We have the big M sign signaling environmentally compatible provisioning. We propel the German energy turnaround, which has been copied in several other countries, and make a contribution to Munich being one of Europe's top business locations. We provide our customers with one of Europe's best drinking water qualities, and have one of the most modern offerings in public baths. That is 18 outdoor and open air pools, some of which are very special and definitely worth a visit if you come to Munich. And we have the best developed public transportation system in Europe. Our business domains are electricity, and that is generation, distribution, and sales, where generation and distribution have to be strictly separate, according to German law. District heating, also generation, distribution, sales, natural gas, water, the public baths, and local traffic, which is subways, trolleys, and buses. Regional trains are not driven by us, but they are driven by Deutsche Bundesbahn. And for some 10 or 15 years, we have a telecommunications subsidiary, Mnet, which provide fiber to the building, almost everywhere within Mittlerer Ring, which is the inner part of Munich. Consequently, the group is structured into several subsidiaries, like these 7. So try pointer. Versorgung GmbH is the supplier, the energy supplier. Infrastruktur GmbH maintains the networks, mainly the networks in the streets and in the pavements. This one is for the outer regions. And SWM Services is the company that I work for. For example, all the IT is concentrated there. We work for all the others. SWM Kundenservice GmbH is the customer service division. And MVG is public transportation in Munich. And if you look carefully, you see these 3 companies with the dark blue frames. These are the 3 subsidiaries that are involved in the Elba project, which I'm going to talk about now. So, SWM is a huge economic factor in Munich. As I said before, we have these 1.4 million customers, mostly for energy and water. We have next to 8,000 employees and a revenue of 4.5 billion euros in the last but 1 year. And our main asset is a huge network, huge networks for electricity, district heating, and so on. And all of these networks need maintenance and need to be extended, and that's where Elba comes into play. Oh, it's for you.
It's for you indeed.
StadtWerke build and maintain the network and the network connections, resulting in thousands of construction projects in each year. Frankly, SWM are the biggest Bauherr. They have the most construction sites in Munich, followed by the city of Munich. Elba completes the ECM architecture by continuous document flow within the projects, which we'll soon see. When the project was first set up, scope, goals, and benefits were defined. The project scope is the purpose of Elba is the introduction of an electronic construction record. Elba is elektronischer Bauakt, electronic construction record, as the successor of the paper record for building activities. And the goals as compared to the former state is that everyone has easy access to project information, even from outside SWM. Retrieval of documents has reduced effort. The quality of data increases. We have better transparency, and we have consistently structured data, just like Beverly told in the preceding speech. They also, in their project in Trafigura, they also structure their data in folders. And the expected benefits are optimized planning and construction processes, which is not exactly correct because the processes themselves were not touched by the Elba. They function exactly as before, but we have less, friction between the players in the process, because every contributor has the information that he needs at his fingertips. So the process doesn't change, but the environment was optimized. We also had lots of redundancy. Well, before Elba documents were also scanned and archived, but each department did that, and documents were scanned several times, so there were several pools with different versions of documents, and they were only usable within the individual department. And last but not least, reduction of paper, because a paper archive is huge. So what is a construction record, the asset that we're dealing with in Elba? The construction record is a pivotal element for the completion of the building measures. Its volume ranges from a simple folder to several ring binders, depending on the size and the complexity of the building measure. It comprises measure approval and cost calculations, customer information, plans, inspection and approval records, regulatory permits, correspondence, and last but not least, photographic records. So from my experience, these construction records can range from like 5 pages to 8,000 pages. It's a huge bandwidth. So how was the process handled before Elba? The sales process is implemented with SAP, and after the service or product or contract was sold, it was printed to paper and passed over to the planning and construction department. And they also have an SAP solution, but they entered and had to enter the data all over again. And when the planning and construction is over, then the Bauakt, the construction record, is again passed to scanning and archiving, which depending on the building construction project, maybe several years after this, the closure of the contract. And in between here, there's a huge gap where the documents were not available in the archive back here. So what's the architecture of Elba to optimize this process? The players are the same as before, but sales, in addition to SAP, now also uses Alfresco and Fred. They keep their documents already in Alfresco and Fred. So frankly, this first transition is no longer a transition. The documents remain in Alfresco and just go to a different state. So during planning and construction, the colleagues have the information at their fingertips and can extend it and add all kinds of documents. And after that, the documents are moved from Alfresco to the Java archive that we have. This is digital network archive, which is available throughout the entire company and gives everyone the transparency that he needs to find out what network is where, in what street, and how deep, and when it was built and maintained, and all kinds of things. So the plan was made. Now we needed a solution to put this to real life. And the choice was made for Fresco in 2009 because it has so many interfaces that one can use, and because Java is the proposed technology in our group, and Alfresco is Java. But we were desperately seeking for an easy-to-use client that looks Windows-like, because as Beverly said in the last speech, people don't like uploading and downloading files through web interfaces. Although Chair does a good job there, it's still not nearly as convenient as it could be. Our project approach is a product-based approach, which means basically we don't go into business analysis too deep, but we presented the users with the existing Fred tool. We showed it to them. We liked it and hoped that they would like it too. And effectively, it really helped them to match it their business processes. Or in other words, they had difficulties to write down their processes, so we could find an appropriate technical solution. So this time, we took the approach the other way around, and effectively it worked very well for us. How long does it take to do such a thing? You see, this is October 2013. We are now in production for a month or so, and it runs very smoothly. We had a specification phase, started out with the interface to the two SAP systems, did our testing, broke up our implementation into two phases, mainly done by XeniT, and integrated it before we launched. And what you can also see is we're also an old Alfresco 3 system running with various other applications. Elba is not our only application. And in parallel with the development of Elba, we ported not all, but most of the existing applications from Alfresco 3 to 4. So it's not exactly true that Alfresco 3 stopped here, but hopefully here. So what's the technical architecture of Elba? We have the huge SAP sales and construction component. We have the Alfresco in the middle, and the proprietary Java archive solution here. And as I said before, these are well integrated. That is, the SAP system invokes web scripts on the Elba side, which, for example, create one folder structure for each new Baufall. What is Baufall in English? For each new construction project. And eventually, when it comes to archiving, the documents are replicated from Elba to digital network archive. Okay. So why do we like Fred? Or what is Fred, in case you don't know? Fred is a fat Microsoft Windows client that is handy, comes handy for people switching from Microsoft Windows Explorer. I'll present you some screenshots in a minute. And the key features are that it supports drag and drop, even for multiple files, which is crucial in our environment. Also important, drag and drop from MS Outlook. Works very nicely. You can just take one email, drag it into an Alfresco folder and drop it there, and you're done. And the other way around is just the same. You double-click the email in Alfresco, and it pops up in Microsoft Outlook. Very slick. Also, editing of metadata is very convenient, as you will see in a minute or so. And last but not least, the check-out, check-in process of Alfresco that all of you know is very intuitive and easy to use in Fred. Much more than in Share, I would say. So here it comes. This is the Fred GUI. On the left-hand side, you have the mandatory tree view of the repository. And the appearance of Fred is very close to Windows 7, which is important to many users. And on the right-hand side, you have these two, how would you call that, columns or panels, yes, which you can minimize or maximize. This one is maximized. And for the selected document, you see all the metadata at a glance. And if you maximize this preview, as done here, you also get the preview straight away. As you scroll through the documents, you see the previews instantly, something which our customers love a lot. Very important for us also is that our content model is quite huge because we have many applications in our Alfresco repository, and each of these applications has its specific business data, which is modeled as properties and aspects and content types. We have lots of properties. Displaying them is not easy. So, of course, Fred offers you the possibility to show and hide individual columns, but this is not enough because there's virtually hundreds of columns, say 200 or so, and people would spend days configuring their Fred user interface. So what's even more useful is this item, column headlines. Here you can select a pre-configured set of columns that you see here. So most people at Stadtwerke, they pick the correct department-specific set of columns once, and they're done. And for the rest of their career at SWM, they see the column set that they need. And this is very, very comfortable, very convenient, I find. it also saves you from drop-down lists with hundreds of items. What else? In the last release, XeniT offered yet another killer feature, the faceted search, which does what it should. It's a good faceted search, and luckily we have many categories and other properties defined in our content model, so it's definitely of good use to find the documents you want. Also, you can, as you can see here, you can group by categories. Part of the Elba system also is a workflow GUI, which is basically a simple and small web front end for the activity work basket. What is tricky and what I like a lot is that you can now have your custom tabs in your thread GUI. You're no longer restricted to the document root and search results, but you as a customer or I as a customer can add other views here, which we will certainly use in the future. Yeah, for example here, this looks like yet another thread tab, but it isn't. It is a web browser. So if I have a simple business task that I want to implement, I don't have to do programming. So for example here, this is a page that displays which documents exist for the given construction project and which are missing. So sort of a completeness check for one construction project. This one here is missing, and that was implemented as a simple web application using web scripts and generating just this one single page, and it integrates seamlessly with the rest of Alfresco. I find this very elegant. As I mentioned before, Elba records are created as a copy of space templates. That is, we have a template directory tree that is copied over and over again for each construction project. And each folder has its individual type. And the folders are moved from space to space accordingly to reflect the state of the construction project. And access controls lists are changed automatically as the project is moved from one space to another. And to move the project from one space to another, quality assurance measures are activated. What was that? The records have relations across different, that's the new slide, I guess. Oh yes, these records are related to the construction itself and to the contract and to the sales process. And this is modeled by relations. Folders in Alfresco can have more than only the relation to their parent and their children. So effectively, people find the documents where they expect them and have them in the structure that they need to do their work efficiently. So we have a license for XeniT Thread, so we are sponsoring the development of Thread. And for this, for Elba, we set up a separate project and contract with XeniT and had some generic features added to Fred, which are available to the community. No, not to the community. Fred is not freeware, but to the other customers of the other Fred customers. As shown before, this small GUI for the activity workflows. We have the offline caching that dramatically improves the performance if you have a bad network connection, and particularly startup times were significantly reduced. That faceted search came in, and the user interface within search for categories was significantly improved. And last but not least, the searches are now savable, which our customers like a lot. And apart from these generic extensions, we had also some specific extensions. That is, we had XeniT implement web scripts that provide for the web services that the SAP systems invoke. And we have behaviors, Alfresco behaviors defined for spaces creation. What I mentioned before, this copying of template folder structures. And that is also triggered by an SAP interface call. And as I said before, yeah, we have this embedded web tab in Fred, which is definitely worth looking at. What do we get in the future? Currently, we have a central scanning service in the enterprise as for Trafigura, but that needs better integration with Alfresco, particularly the QA workflows related to scanning. We will definitely want more business roles and workflows and automation. Currently, the construction process is not automated by Alfresco and activity. It is only supported by Alfresco ECM. And what people also call for is that they want to have Elba available on the construction site, so they don't have to take copies of the relevant documents with them. And we have a network search project going on. I have to check the time. What time is it? 31? Oh, that fits in quite nice. We have a network search component in the enterprise, and we want to include or integrate the Fred search with that. And as we go mobile, we certainly want a location-based search, because we have definitely lots of infrastructure within the grounds of Munich, and it's sometimes difficult to find the right construction record. So that was the prospect to the future. So questions from the floor? Who has one?
Thanks for this first presentation I saw from the real world. That's really interesting. I'm from a similar company, and I'm really delighted to see what you did with Alfresco in Munich. We're in Greenland, and we are what you are in Munich.
In Greenland?
Only have
wow.
We only have like 50,000 inhabitants in Greenland, except it's 5 times larger than Germany. So we have a lot of emptiness to...
Turns out to be the same, huh?
We have a lot of emptiness to account for, actually. But, you know, one of the things that struck me with your and the other presentations these last few days is that you touch on the integration with the work desk and the basic integration of the Alfresco, but I'm not hearing so much about the ERP integration and the GIS integration. We would really like to hear more about that. And I think for us, and for probably a lot of other players to endeavor into that whole idea, we need to see more reference architecture. That would be my short way of putting it. We need to see a tangible, comprehensible model for how to integrate with the axe and all of the data that flows with the axe. The whole work desk presentations that we've been given focus very much on clerical work, you know, on-site, on-premise workforce, whereas we have a lot of people who are very mobile. In our case, we have 76 islands that we have people working in with different plants, you know. So we need to bind these together, and I would like to hear you comment on that, if you may.
Well, mobile Elba is in a very early stage these days, and has definitely been pushed to phase 2 or 3. But our vision is that we look into one of these Alfresco apps that you can load on your iPad or a tablet, and which raises some serious security issues, which is clear. But we would definitely want to have that in the field also. Although Munich is small compared to Greenland. It definitely takes an hour to get from one side to the other. So,
if you could elaborate on your SAP integration, what's the integration about? What do you actually share with the SAP? Just the documents, or are we speaking data? Are we speaking service maintenance modules, service repair overhaul modules, work planning, workload?
I'm not
billing?
the SAP person. I can't give you the answer.
That's fair enough.
Should I answer? No.
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
Hello.
hello. You're here?
So maybe I can talk a little bit about it. So we have been working together in this project at StadtWerke Munich, and I was responsible, at least a part of the SAP integration. So in this special case, as you have seen, all this information to create a new structure and all this information is coming originally from SAP. So in SAP, there is a new, let me say, object where all this information has been created. And then we push over the information to Alfresco, and based on that, with Fred, you then completely fill this structure, or even on the information you decide which structure will be created on the Fred side, so in this Elba tool. So in this special case, we only pushed information from SAP because obviously SAP was the leading system. But we have also other implementations, and maybe you come tomorrow to our presentation with Sagobar that is showing about the Alfresco SAP integration, and they go both directions. So at least we have an answer to your needs. And if you have SAP, I have never been to Greenland.
I see the invitation coming on. We don't have time.
So you have to implement.
Yeah. But as I said, yes, SAP is the leading system, and Alfresco is the sync for all the information and documentation that SAP generates. Yeah.
So the GIS would be with the SAP rather than with the Alfresco?
Both possible, but yes, most it is with SAP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who else?
Your timeline told us that you have just recently gone full production. Am I correct there? How can you say something about how this solution has been received? Maybe it's too early to say. What do the user think about the solution?
You mean if they like the system or don't?
Yeah. Or are they actually using it? Or have you forced them to use it? Or, I mean, there are all kind of ways to do this, but users can be reluctant to switch from the file system.
Well, you may suspect that I'm the project lead. I'm the lead of this project, which is not the case because he's on parental leave. I'm only a deputy here. So I'm not talking about myself if I say that this project is a huge success, and people like working with it. And also the rollout and introduction and the pilot phase, where is it? The green box in the center, were carefully conducted, and the perception is good. And we had next to no production problems in this 1 month that it's running now, except for once when our LDAP system was reconfigured and the nightly LDAP synchronization wiped out all the Alfresco user. So basically it simulated the case where all of the SWM employees were fired and all the users were removed, and so were their permissions, and we had a hard time reconstructing that. But that's not a fault of Alfresco, and even less of Fred or the application. That was just stupidity of the Active Directory guys. So the answer is positive. So if there's no more questions left, then it's my turn to thank you for your attention and for coming to Barcelona, and have fun with the upcoming sessions.